Hi, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Motivations and Memoirs. You know, as women, we never fail to shine. One of the beautiful thing about us is that if you take us and you push us in a corner, we're going to shine. It doesn't matter how dark the place is, we're going to illuminate the darkness and it's going to become light because guess what? God made women. Men don't feel no way, but you will agree with me. God made women extra special, with an extra little touch of niceness. We're nice, bad. My guest today, guys, is one of such that I just spoke about. Yes, a little touch, well, whole heap of tups of niceness. Our husband would probably say, oh dear, you come talk about my wife have little tups of niceness. Yes, that is how God made us. He made us not only beautiful and packed, with all that there is, but he adds extra. And of course, I have with me one of God's beautiful gem. Her name is Chaneika Laing. Lady Chaneika Laing. Minister of the gospel, married to a pastor, mother of 3, and that is just her biological because as pastors' wives, we mother everybody. There are times when we step back and like we have to knock our heads and say, okay, how old am I again? I realize that yeah, one little young pitney about your mother because we mother persons who are older than us. Yeah. Right? Because of the giftings that God places in us and the trust that he, rests in us. Thanks be to Almighty God. She's a visionary all on her own. And married to one popular man of God too. But one of the things I love about God, and that's why I say if you take women and you push them in one corner, and the corner is dark, we're going to shine because we're natural visionaries, we're natural nurturers. And so regardless of who we're married to, we find our own footing. Yeah, we sound our own trumpets, not to brag and to boast, but we're going to have vision. We're going to carry them out because guess what? Our lives, are not just ours to live, but as we go through our lives, yes, we have our experiences, but through them, we learn purpose. And so, yes, we are still in season 4, my life, my purpose, his praise. Lady Chaneika Laing, as I said, is a visionary. So she preaches, she teaches, she sings. Adding to that, she, has birthed what she calls Victorious Kingdom Women Inc. And this, she will tell you about that in her testimony. But I tell you, we are women, we are on the front line, we are married to the pastors and the pastor them were up and down and preach all over the place. But God in his infinite love still allows us to nurture our husband, take care of the kids, but we're also birthing our own vision. So we're owning our own as we complement the men of God. Thank you so much, Lady Chaneika Laing, for joining Motivations and Memoirs. It is a pleasure to have you. And she's also my colleague in his first lady.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to Motivations and Memoirs.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It is indeed a pleasure being here and being a part of this awesome movement that God has entrusted to you. And it's absolute privilege, absolute privilege.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So as we embrace this theme, life, purpose, praise. What has life been for a beautiful woman like you? I mean, some persons would look on her and say, then she really I can imagine when you just came to the Lord or something, then she really gone and get life to God. She really gone, she don't know what's a whole heap of things out here for enjoy. Look how she pretty. Because I think that Oh, beautiful women must go enjoy themselves. It's Lana telling.
Ugly people alone will serve God.
Yeah, come on.
Well, the beauty about it is that you can have the external look, but no internal glow. And
Absolutely.
so, it thank God that He beautified the meek with salvation. And so I'm only beautiful, not because of the physical look, but because of the salvation that God has entrusted unto me, that
Yeah.
I may have peace of mind, I may have grace, my words may be seasoned with
Mhm.
grace and edifying, so that it does not come out sounding like something that should be thrown in a garbage truck. But just the fact that He has turned my life around shows me that it's possible. It's possible for anyone. So trust me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely possible for just about anyone. So what has your life been? When we speak about my life, what aspect of your life um are you going to share with us on motivations and memoirs? Maybe
Well,
it's a lot, but
it's a lot, because growing up, my dad passed away when I was about 10, 11.
mm,
And so my mom and dad was not married. And so I lived with my mom, but my dad was my best friend, the little time that I knew him.
mhm,
And life was good up until that point, until he died.
mhm,
And then you would say all hell broke loose, because it was around the time when I was to do my GSAT. And then my mom came back and said that she's getting married. Right. And in those time, the church thing, you meet the man today, 6 months later, you are married.
mhm,
Right. It's not like now where you can draw the engagement till thine kingdom come.
mhm,
But it's at that point where, and so without a father, my mom got married. I moved in, being that I'm the last child for my mom. I eventually moved in with them. And that's when the rubber meet the road. That's when all hell broke loose. My stepdad was a broken man, and he poured that in his marriage. He poured that on me, his stepchild. He The enemy used him to break me. So by the time I was in third form, I had no self-esteem. I was struggling with depression. I was now suicidal. Um, Still was going to church, because in those time you don't stay home.
mhm, mhm.
Once your mother take you to church Sunday morning, you can't stay home unless you are dead, and you have to get a report from the doctor to say you're dying, right? And I got to that place where I would go to church, go through the motion, never really had an encounter like that. I knew that there was something on my life, but based on the direction where my life was going, it never looked possible. Nobody could tell me that I was beautiful, and I believed.
Wow.
Um, Nobody could tell me, say, me look good, and I believe. I was that broken. I didn't have an identity. If somebody came and tell me that I was a scandal bug, I would have believed them. I was I was that kind of person. And so I go through the motion of church. Um, was being verbally abused at home, by my stepdad. And then when my mom could not take it anymore, she would try to alleviate some of the pressure. So Jamaican parents, them just tell you some things will come in your mouth even without thinking about the repercussions. And so I was broken in that area. Um, and so when I was going to school, by the time I reached third form, my grades started falling. I started reaching a place where I knew I no longer believe I was capable of coming in the top 10. So I was in the 30s in my class. Um, and then so I would have to wash the dishes, because I was the oldest of the stepchildren in the home, because he had two younger children, but I was the oldest. And so he would prefer his children above myself and my mother. So I watched all of that played out in the marriage. They would go months without talking to each other. They would, you know, and I'm talking about people that are in church,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there was not much example at the church either, much like that, because wives would talk to husband, but I knew within myself that something was wrong with that. You know, wife would talk to husband anyhow. Um, Husband would get up and testify, and hear wife comment, and the church was small, so you can hear the comments.
Oh my God.
So him can't sit down and shut up now. You know, stuff like that. I'm talking the truth here.
My God.
Stuff like that. And I would be like, if this is marriage, I don't want to be married no time soon. I mean, no one. A matter of fact, they had it to say that don't even bother to punch Chaneika. Chaneika don't want to get married, don't plan to get married, because the idea of marriage just did not appeal to me. And being broken, not really have much of a father figure,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and being molested as a child, you
Wow.
know, you got broken beyond repair. So by this time, I would have had a boyfriend. No, so me I go church and me I do things. Me I go church, me I do things, and you know, you're trying to find that place. You feel uncomfortable there, but at the same time, church does not feel comfortable to you. And I was at that place where my grade was dropping. I would reach school late, right? Because there were some morning, if I don't get to wash the dishes in the night, I would have to wash them in the morning before I go to school. And if I dare leave the dishes before, if I'm going through that gate, you hear my parents, right, come and saying, hey, you know what? Come wash the dishes. So I have to turn back, put on a shirt over my uniform, wash the dishes. And when I'm late, when it comes on the report, I get beaten for that. And so it was broken people raising children that became broken.
Broken. Mm-hmm.
And so I was broken. I would cry myself to sleep. I started drinking out my mom rum. Cause you know that you'd have rum she bakes. So
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, so you know you'd have the rum. So I would sweeten sugar and water and pour rum in it and just drink it. It never mattered to me. I wanted to die, but the only thing that kept me alive was the fact that you always heard that if you take your life, you will never see the face of God. And that was the only thing that kept me. The only thing. It wasn't church. It wasn't, all right, somebody was praying for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mark you, I knew that person was praying for me, but it was none of that. It was
Mm-hmm.
the fact that if I should die now, if I take my own life now, I would not see God.
Mm-hmm.
And that terrified me more than anything else. And that pushed me to endure some things that I thought I would never recover from. Some things that I just wanted to give up on. There was just days that I never thought my life was gonna be like this that I'm living today. So
Wow.
um, so I graduated from school, high school, with I had subjects, but not much. I had about 5 subjects. Um, and then I went back and get more. So I had now about 8. And then after graduating from high school, I wanted to go and study psychology. And in going to wanting to study psychology, my a family member came and said, well, at that time psychology was not as prevalent as it
Mm-hmm.
is now. And so that relative came and said, well, you gonna study psychology about people just kill themselves or them shoot one another. Nobody now gonna want a psychologist. I waste, you go waste money. If I had not only listened, I should have gone, right?
Right.
I would be well off right now. But I deviated, and I remember I went to a funeral, and at the funeral for the denomination that I was at, it was a church mother that started a lot of church and ministry in that denomination, and she passed off. And so I went, and the Bible college was there, and for some reason I felt like I needed to go. I I don't know why, and I ended up at Bible college. Did not know why I'm doing at Bible
At what
college.
age?
By this time, I was about 17, 18. So I don't have a clue when me I do a Bible college. Mark you, me I got church all my life. Me not exposed to demon. Me not exposed to much speaking in tongues. The only thing you aspire when you're there at church of speaking in tongues and dance and all of them. Some of them chat with your friends. Them I never got exposed to a lot of things until I went to Bible college. Went to Bible college. Me and the dean never to get along because it was a small Bible college. Listen, can you imagine you and the dean? And so that brought my self-esteem to non-existent.
Wow.
And then I got suspended from Bible college. Let's talk about life. Talk about life. My husband would say it perfectly. My husband said, when I look at you, you are a walking testimony. If I want to see God's goodness, I just look at you and I just see walking testimony. And so no, I got suspended. And the rule that they had was that you're not supposed to be in a closed environment with the opposite sex.
Okay.
A Bible college are there, big people. Me not understand, but when I signed the thing, I said I would adhere to the rules. So I went down a little bit earlier, and that evening we went down to the library and we watched movie, right? Now, the secretary that was on compound had a personal vendetta against the young man. I later found out. And I went back up the following day because I had left my charger in St. Thomas. So the Bible college is in Manchester. And I left my charger. And when I came back, I heard that the dean was looking for me. So I was like, okay. So I went down there. By this time, the new batch was coming in. Everybody happy to see everybody reunited, and it feels so good. And I went down there, and I know that something was wrong when she asked me what happened. And I was like, what happened? And I said, well, I came down, me and this person went down by the library, we sat down. That was not the report that she got. We were in a secluded area and whatever. And I was like, but that's not what happened. You know, I could tell you what movies we watch. Mark you, up until this day, yes, he's a male, but up until this day, Lady Ibrica, I don't know if the man a woman or a man. I don't know his personal organs. So what was implied was I felt like the lady that was caught in the act of adultery. And so I remember before that, I had gotten some word. I remember one young lady, she has prophetic dreams, and she said, Chaneika, I dreamed you twice, and I see you packing up going home. And God said to tell you that he's going to train you himself. And me said, but this not make no sense. This not make sense because me not do nothing forget in trouble. Me try to walk the straight and narrow. And I remember when she said to me, where is the person? And I went and called the person. Me and the person don't get no time for say, all right then, and this if you tell her, this say, no. And when the person came and a matter of fact, somebody else go call the person. And when the person came and she asked, it was the same story. Mark, I just saw each other to have a story makeup, right? And then she said, give me your pastor number. I mean, like by this time, the whole college are here because she has showed on top of her voice. Give me a pastor number. Give me a pastor number. And I gave it to her. And I said, Miss, am I expelled? She said, no, you're suspended. I'm suspended in my last semester. No, I'm going to have to sit out a complete year in order to get back to the same semester. How is it that I'm suspended? Lady Thomas, at that point in time, I begged God so hard that night. I hardly slept because in my head, it was a dream. It was all a dream. I was saying, God, make me wake up a morning and it's a joke. Let me wake up and it rewind the time, God. Just let it be something that was not. When I woke up in the morning, the entire college knew by this time. I was being treated like a leper. And I was packed up and sent home. The thing about that now, Lady Thomas, if I was to talk about church hurt, let me put it like this. If God did not have me, I would not be sitting here today talking to you. And that's just the honest truth. That's just the honest truth. Because now the directors got involved. Then the county superintendents got involved. Then my pastor got it. My pastor was so upset about the situation, not because of what was done, but how it was done. There was no level of protection. Everybody knew. And persons looked at me like I was a filthy rags. Everybody looked at me like I was messed up, like I had leprosy. I mean, like it was crazy. When I got back home, I was so broken. I remember I was coming from church that Sunday, and the topic at church was God gives his hardest battle to his toughest soldiers.
Oh boy.
I knelt down. I was walking down with my mom and my sister, and I just started weeping in the middle of the street. It broke my mom. When I say it broke my mom, it broke my mom. I just started weeping in the middle of the street. I was a mess. I was like, Mommy, I can't do this. I can't do this. I am not able to carry this. I can't do this. Over the next, because the church did not cover me. So when you go out, you feel like everybody will look at you based on what you are going through. So even if you go to the supermarket and you see somebody even look at you too long, all of a sudden, I wonder if they know. I wonder if they know my life. I wonder if, and so I started using my situation to define me. Wow. And I became so suicidal. My mom no longer wanted for me to stay home because she was afraid of coming home to see her daughter dead. And so she started taking me to work with her. She was a teacher. And there were missionary groups in Jamaica at the time. So missionary groups would come down, and the missionary that were located in Jamaica would carry them around, would help out at the school, and I would be the tour guide. And I remember I went to convention, and one of the superintendent looked at me, one of the directors of the Bible college. I was among some of my peers, and I was talking, and he said to me, I hope you're not give your pastor no man trouble. Just like that. Just like that. And I stood there and I said, no, sir. And the way I was stunned, it was one of the missionary that I was working with was close by, heard and said, no, actually, Chaneika is helping me with the groups that come to Jamaica that helps with the school. She's such a blessing to us, and he started speaking on my behalf because I left him standing there and I went to the bathroom and I wept. I cried. I was so broken. I mean, like by this time I had no self-esteem. I had no character. I had nothing to give to anybody. By this time, I pretty much was just out of it, to the point where I was full-fledged ready to backslide. I was saying to God, listen, God, there is this young man that like me. May I make plans with him to go to hotel? I remember one day we had an outside bathroom and I looked up in the sky. I said, God, I want to serve you, but it is so hard and I can't. And that weekend we went to a function and there was this young man that liked me. I made plans to go hotel with him. But he was supposed to drop off a family member. And while going to drop off the family member, Lady Thomas, the vehicle dropped in a pothole. And when we reached at the gate, The tire would not budge, the tire bust,
My
and
God.
it would not budge. And it was somebody who had to take me home. And while going home, God said to me in the back of that person's Prado, even when you let me go,
Ah,
I will not
Jesus.
let you go.
My God.
I have invested too much in you to let you go. And I was like, but
Jesus.
God, we can't do this. We can't do this. And so I got back into Bible college. I completed Bible college. Yeah, that was a story. I completed Bible college. I remember before I went back, I asked them, because the missionary couple that was teaching psychology, I asked them, can I just go back? They were more than willing, because they were supposed to leave the island. I said, can I just go back and just finish that curriculum to, just, I wouldn't be sitting in class. They would personally just give me the information, and then I would do the test, and I would have gotten the credits. And they were so spiteful. Let me retract that. They were looking out for their interests, to the point where they told me no. Even when the couple was more than willing to do it, because I had more credits. I had already started the curriculum, and they told me no. And I remember I sat at my sister's house, and I lay my head on the board on the veranda, and I started crying, and I said, God, my mom was sitting there. I said, Mommy, you bear me in pain. You bear me to be a disgrace. I said, Mommy, you bear me for my life to be nothing. And she said, no, I birthed you with purpose. She said, matter of fact, when you were born with a symbol of a cross in your forehead. She said, listen, you are a latter-day prophet, and you will fulfill what God, you are not a mistake. She said, my daughter, you're going to rise from this. You're going to rise from this. And I while she was talking, it just did not register or resonated with me, because all I was seeing was disappointments and hurt and betrayals and frustration and just that hopelessness. And so by this time I was just over it. So I graduated from Bible college, started CST, never finished CST. But then by 2010, my world turned upside down again. By 2010, I moved up because the relationship with my stepfather wasn't getting any better. Over the years, he would put my mom and I out of his house.
Wow.
And this would be close to exam time, so it affects everything. And then by the time he put us out, they reconcile, and I would have to meet her where they live in order to get lunch money, in order to go to school. And if I miss her, then I would have to go to school without money. I would have to go to school without any lunch, right? And so, and I was a tomboy at that point. So yeah, even though I'm not girl, I was a tomboy in that time. So I would roll with all the guys, and people would have, if you said your money, you have one with a boyfriend, but I was just rolling with the guys because that's what I knew. And so they would reconcile, and then my stepdad would say to me, it's not gonna happen again. And then the next year is the same cycle all over again. And that also put me in a place where I never trusted anybody easily. I never believe easily. And it was just like that. So the relationship deteriorated, and I went to live with my sister. Now my sister live in a bush. The signal they pick up there. And as a young lady, you're saying, no man, you don't want to stay here. So I had some cousins that was coming to my to the church that I was going at the time. And I started, spending weekends with them, and then it turned into extended weeks, and and eventually, I started partying. So I left church, put down everything at church, still visited, still go Sunday after Sunday, but I was no longer a part of the church. I was no longer a part of the body because one, it was just a mess. It was just a mess. And so I started partying. This is after Bible college. I start partying, we start going clubbing, start going out with them. Men taking us out because by that time we were slim and trim, shape good, all of that, look good, hair on fleek, all of them something there. And so I tell people, if God did not redeem, I would not be here, right? And so I would be in a place where I'm going, remember one particular um holiday that you normally have convention on holiday. And we as young people, they outside a plan for the party in the night. We are planned party in the night, and we left the convention, and by in the night we're gonna party, gonna wet and slippery, on beach party. And we in a short clothes and marina belly skin and all of these things. And when we went to the party, 11 of us went, and 8 of us out of the 11 were Christians.
Wow.
8, including a deacon, a young deacon was there as well.
Oh, Lord.
Right? And
It was
and yes, and we went to the party, and I was so embarrassed because at the time I wanted to get drunk because all the thoughts and everything, and I'm trying to use the alcohol to numb what I am going through. And when I woke up the next morning, I was so embarrassed. I put my bag and got me yard. But then by the next week, I was back, But the thing about it, I felt hell pulling me. I felt hell pulling me. My daily dose was no secular music, R&B, the Usher, the Beyonces, the Rihanna, and then after a while, me couldn't see how man and woman live together. So me say, all right, then me go live on my own, me go live on my own, or find a female roommate, because how man fi understand woman, and all of these start happening in my head. But at the same time, I felt hell pulling me, and the church was not there. The church was not there. There were more there criticizing young people. Them no want God. See them there. Them are going, but and I'm saying, I remember one day I look at one of my friends and I said, "Do me, I beg you, pray for me. I know I'm out of place. Help." Because I could not pray for myself. I could not pray for myself. And I remember one particular day, my pastor looked at me, and we went to a half night prayer meeting, but I just went there to sleep actually. I mean, I was going there for sleep. And I remember about 1, 2 o'clock, it was an all night prayer meeting. And about 1, 2 o'clock, my pastor looked at me and said, "Chaneika, I'm going to ask you to pray." Mr. Pastor, no. Respectfully, no. Because I knew the kind of life I was living, and I knew it was not pleasing to God. And somehow he got the mic in my hand. And I'm telling it from my mom perspective. She said she saw her daughter walk up there. But by the time I opened my mouth and started praying, she saw a light start emanating. She said she saw me transform right in front of her. Oh, and if she did not see her daughter walk up there, then she would not have believed it was me. And so I
cry
was
of the heart.
Trust me. And so I was just in that place of total brokenness. I remember one Sunday I'm going to church, and I said, "God, I know I'm not living right, but do not strike me. Do not kill me. I really want to serve you." Me gonna quad, me in a quad, and God see me in a quad and said to me, so what if I put in my appearance now? Where would I find you? In a quad, me in a quad a dance. And God locate me in a quad. Couldn't even enjoy my sinfulness.
My God.
He found me in quad. And he said to me, what if I put in my appearance now? Where would I find you? And I remember one night my mother, I never go home, and my mother called me and said, where are you? I said, I am out with my friends. She said, are this Miss Chaneika Bible College for? I'm sorry, Miss send you. I'm sorry you send me to. I waste your money. Because I just did not care anymore. I just did not care. And
my, what a story, eh? From brokenness, abuse, to being accused, rejected, and even practically being abandoned. Wow. A church girl, low self-esteem issues, but one who at the brink when she said, no man, mother, you bore me to suffer. She was reminded, no, you were birthed for purpose. Many of you out there and things happening to you and you're saying, me born for suffer. No. Your suffering, your issues, your situations are to birth purpose in you. Because through your life, purpose must be fulfilled and God must be praised. So you have to come back next week to hear part 2. The struggles for Lady Laing continues, and you come here. Oh, this time she really got in trouble, and even more rejection and more tongues, but she prevailed. The struggle is real, guys. But one thing about God is that even when we let him go, as you would have heard in this testimony, that even at times when we're fed up and we can't bother because of the things that we're going through, and we try to let go God and probably even let him go, he holds us. He holds us in his arms. So safe and so warm. And we find shelter in the high of the storms. Guys, what good. You have to come back next week and see the continuation. You also remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when I upload part 2. And I will see you in the next part. What good. Blessings. Share with somebody and tell them to share with somebody else, and continue to stay tuned.